Hello and welcome to another episode of Goa 365's Story Behind the Story. Today we are having another episode on agriculture, but this time it's about urban gardening and vertical gardening. Some of these technical terms that many of us are not familiar with, but we know what it is. Urban gardening is gardening which you do in urban areas, and vertical gardening, as Miguel and Priyanka were just telling me, it's on a vertical scale. So we have with us Priyanka Parab. She is an agriculture graduate, and she's also an expert in this urban gardening and vertical gardening, generally gardening which you do in the house besides other things, of course. Welcome Priyanka to our show. And with her is also another expert, Miguel Braganza, who is a agriculturist, I don't know, activist agriculture, whatever, but an environmentalist who I know, good friend of mine who I know for a very long time. Miguel, welcome to our show once again. Now Miguel, before we move on to details, to nitty-gritties and everything, I would like you to introduce Priyanka to our audience, since you have worked with her and you know her pretty well. Miguel.
Priyanka Naik, more popularly known as Priyanka Parab, because that's how we knew her for the last 6 years, was a very shy girl when she came to the college in Sulkarna. But within a year, you could see drastic changes. She was part of the handball team, which played for the first time, where she learned the game from scratch, practiced, and the team went on to the semi-finals of the Goa University Intercollegiate Tournament. So that was a big boost to everyone who was part of the team. First year, she did not write anything for the magazine or anything. She was a very quiet girl. But in the second year, she started writing also for the student magazine that we had coming out almost every 10 days there. And by the end of the second year, she was coordinating that magazine all on her own. So that was the change that we get. In the second year, she captained the table tennis team, and they played well. We don't have much facilities there in Sulkarna, and still the team did creditably well. She, of course, continued playing handball, and by the end of her second year, she was researching to write research papers. No sooner the second year began, she was also into the cultural events, whereas in the first year you couldn't see her on stage. She was into the cultural events, and she was elected the class representative and cultural secretary when we formed the first committee in the second year. She organized lots of events for the students as the cultural secretary. And the students started to participate into intercollegiate events for the first time. In 2018, for the Meteora in Panjim, the Miss Meteora prize was won by a college in Sulkarna, and most people ask, Sulkarna where? Is it in Goa? So it was a totally unknown place, and that came into prominence with that. Before she graduated out, she was quite a popular figure in the college, and when it came to their results, they were stuck. And she coordinated with all the students to have a press conference in Panjim and to get the results, which were already delayed for 3 months, out in 5 days flat. That was her call to fame. Wow. After she graduated, she presented 2 papers at an international conference. To present orally is a privilege most people don't have. Many of her teachers have not presented orally at an international conference, which she has. And not 1 paper, but she presented 2 papers. And thereafter, she has been going from strength to strength. She has been conducting demonstrations in gardening for school students for the Botanical Society across Goa. More than 40 schools she's covered. And she has been helping with the Festival of Plants and Flowers in Seoli. She helped to organize the Plant Utsav in Panjim, an event which was not organized for the last 8 years, came back to life in 2019. And she is the youngest treasurer of the Botanical Society of Goa and the founding president of the Alumni Association of the Agriculture Graduates. So the Agricos Alumni Association runs with her leadership, and they came forward to organize the webinars every Sunday, and 33 webinars have been conducted in the last 9 months. Wow. So quite an achievement for a village girl.
Now, I don't know if there are any village girls in Goa being here any longer, but anyway, that's a different matter. Today, Goa is one big, I don't know, city, or it's the world is a global village, whatever you may want to call it. But before we get into the other things, I want to know a few details. Now, you've presented 2 papers orally, which is something. So could you give us details on what your papers are on? A little bit small, in short.
It was on increased growth of mung bean with the effect of Panchagavya and EM. So I used Panchagavya and EM as my treatments. So I made 4 treatments. That is, 1 was control without any treatment. The water was used for the seed treatment. Then the seed of the mung bean, that is our mung, was treated for 15 minutes with Panchagavya alone. The dilution was used, was 3%. Then EM was used, that is effective microorganism. The dilution was same dilution we used for the EM, that is 3% solution, that is 30 ml per liter. And this Panchagavya and EM together, we made 1 solution of both the microorganisms. And we made 3 treatments of single Panchagavya, EM, and EM plus Panchagavya, and water as a control. So this experiment was carried out by RCBD method in a polyhouse. And after looking at the growth of the plant, we found out that Panchagavya alone increases the leaf area index of the plant. Also, it increased the nodule formation that is required for the legume plant for nitrogen. So my research was based on the growth of the plant, based on microorganisms present in the Panchagavya and EM. So I found out that Panchagavya has a lot of beneficial organisms that can increase the leaf area index of the plant, which would increase the photosynthesis for the plant. It also boosts the nodule formation, which would increase the nitrogen intake. And it also helps in growth formation. That is, the length of the plant was much more better as compared to other. That was my found.
Okay. So basically, what you're saying is that because after this treatment, you get larger leaves and the roots can absorb more of nitrogen, so the plants become bigger, right? If I got it.
Yes, you are correct. And the same Panchagavya now we are preparing at our farm.
Okay.
We are making it specialized.
Okay, wow. Now, could you explain to us, if we are lay people, could you explain to us what is urban gardening? Now I'll go into what is urban gardening, what is vertical gardening, what do you do, and what can people do in their homes, in their gardens, Priyanka?
Yeah, because of our busy routines, like most of the urban dwellers, they don't get enough time to go for actual farming. And urban gardening is a one method wherein one can have at least their basic food needs like chilies, coriander, tomatoes, brinjals, grown in a small such a pot, in a balcony or on a windowsill. So that is also possible to have your vegetable grown organically for your own consumption. And I think Corona has made a peak point when everyone has realized the importance of food, because even the simple coriander was 100 rupees a bunch. So that's how it was shooting like anything, and you can grow it by yourself without much maintenance, like if you use self-irrigating pots, wherein you don't have to water your plants regularly. So there are many options wherein one can offer with the increasing technologies, where you don't need to look at your plants regularly. So that's something like urban gardening in short. But vertical gardening is related to urban gardening, wherein if you don't have any space, where you don't have a balcony or you don't have a big terrace, and still you want to grow your vegetables, or you want to utilize somehow your space in the house and grow your vegetables. So in such a case, for vertical gardening, what we do is we use the wall or your gate or whatever, your window, and that vertical space is utilized to grow your vegetables by placing clips or pots which are hanging on the wall itself. And you can place a drip irrigation system wherein the water is flowing throughout it, or you can go for hydroponics vertically, where the water is sprinkled or flow in a airflow, wherein the plants can take out this water and you don't have to even look at it for a longer time. Then you can just go and pick your vegetables.
Yeah, Priyanka, now what I want to know now, when you are in the house, for example, like main problem is like every day you have to water the plants and then you have to do. So is there some, you were saying self-irrigating pot, so is there some way of doing a sort of a drip irrigation for local balconies and all that, or what is this self-regulating pots?
Yeah, so self-irrigating pot, it works on osmosis. Okay, so usually when we water the plant, what we do is we just get a gallon of water and pour onto it, like thinking like plant requires a lot of water. But it's not true. Plant requires only a capillary amount of water, that is that tiny amount. So what this capillary action is, we take two pots. For example, you can go for a recycling your petal pots, that PET pots, 2 liters. You can take 1 2 liter bottle and cut into two parts. So you will have the top portion which is conical in shape and the bottom which is vertical. In the bottom part, you can add half of it filled with water, and the top conical part, you can open the bottle cap, make a hole to it at the center, and you can add a cotton wick. Okay, that will act as a media for the water to flow into the from water to the soil media. Okay. So what we'll do is the conical part for which we have inserted the cotton wick of around 15 to 20 centimeter, and that wick we are going to put it inverted. The conical shape will be put inverted on the part of the bottle, and on the conical part will contain your growing medium, that is your soil, feed or compost, and in that you can put your plant.
Yeah. Now, tell me something. Now, this is what a lot of people in cities and even in today even villages. Most of they are urban villages. So, anybody can do this in any balcony.
Yes, obviously, because when I have visited various schools, like those 5th standard, 4th standard students, they are doing it by themselves. And the most satisfying part for me is like those teachers are coming back and telling me this, my children, my students are doing so well by your techniques. They're growing their own foods and they find it very interesting because they don't need to water their plant and it's absorbing by itself. So they are very happy with the such kind of innovations. And that is required for our upcoming generation.
Okay, fine, absolutely. But then I think the vegetable sellers from Belgaum probably will not be too happy with you, Priyanka, on this issue. What do you say, Miguel? Yeah, now one thing before I want to get back to Miguel again on process, but I want to know, now could you explain to us what is this vertical type of and this you're talking about growing?
Vertically is what we can do for your, if you don't have enough space in your balcony or you can't use your window sill, then you can go for a vertical space. Okay, if you have one wall which is empty, and you can make a system wherein you can put a vertical half round pipes in a stack like that. You can make a frame of all the vertical pipes. Okay, on that vertical pipes you can grow your vegetables, all your leafy vegetables, then your garlics, okay, onions, in a vertical manner. So you're not using a horizontal space, or you don't require enough space to grow your vegetables. You can even install a system on the wall itself which contains pockets which are attached to the wall, and you can put your growing media into that, and you can install a drip system which will dropwise water the plant. You can even use there also by placing the pots at even distance and making that looking at that distance, you can make a hole to the pipe.
That means you don't have to put the pipes on all the time. Only when you need, you can put it on and then put it off or whatever, right? Very interesting. I think this Miguel, these new technologies is something that we really need to get into. Miguel, before I get back to Priyanka, I wanted to a little bit of this on you. Now, a lot of there's a quite a bit of agriculture happening in Goa, in the state, right? However, we
Right.
still need to bring in a lot of vegetables and fruits and all from outside the state. So suppose if we start processing, culture of processing in Goa, will it help to reduce our dependency on our neighboring? I have nothing against the farmers from Belgaum or Karnataka, but would it be possible, you think it is actually possible for Goa to be relatively self-sufficient except maybe for wheat or?
Between 1954 and 1961 liberation, there was an economic ban on Goa. Nothing could be brought from Karnataka, that time Mysore state, or from Bombay presidency, including Hubli and Dharwad and Belgaum. Nothing could be brought to Goa. If you wanted coffee, it came from Africa. So during that time, we survived. We grew our own rice, we grew our own vegetables, we grew our own pulses. Some people even who couldn't do without coffee even planted coffee plants and made their coffee at home. So if Goa wants, we can do everything. Now the option is that if we are going to tourism, hotel trade, event management, it's easier to make money without sweating. Chauli Alsando is something traditionally grown here. We need not bring it from out. Ladyfingers, we have better ladyfinger than anywhere out. So Benday can be grown here. So the procurement policy, the government policy should be more. Of course, it's a little bit difficult to buy from a local person because if you are looking for a bride, you won't get. And if you take a bride, everyone will know. And vertical gardening is a very simple thing. Everyone now in the rains knows when the water falls on the steps, you don't want it there, you put a half round pipe, you make the ponyo, and you get the water to one side. That same half round pipe, you can put soil and cocoa peat and grow vegetables in it, whether it's palak or it's coriander or methi. And you use deeper pots if you want to grow things like mooli and such things. So vertical gardening is possible even in a flat. Just one wall in a balcony which is maybe 1 meter wide is enough. You can even do it in your sitting room for the grill.
Yes, of course. Yeah, it look nice also.
Looks
Yeah,
nice.
I agree. Yeah, yeah. This is very interesting because this is something that needs to be encouraged and needs to be basically what it needs. I feel is that it needs exposure because like we are looking at. I think our priorities over the past so many years has been very different. As you rightly pointed out, Miguel, it's been what do you say? It's been balloons, balloon tourism, or it's been planes, seaplanes, or ropeways. When actually, in many parts of the world, agriculture and tourism go hand in hand because people want to go to, like say in Coorg, so many other places where people want to live in. So you can also have tourism, and you can also have agriculture, and you can also be self-sufficient. Priyanka, I would like to go back to you on that now. Just to add on to what Miguel has said, now you do this urban gardening and all this plus, but how did you get into agriculture? How did you develop, not get, how do you develop the liking for agriculture and decide that you want to make this your career and be pretty enthusiastic about it, which is first thing is that passion, right? And you guys are the future of Goa, so this it's very good to see this in your Priyanka.
Basically, my grandparents were into agriculture, but my father was never into it. So whenever we used to go to our ancestral house, so it was a village in Mathura. So whenever we used to go there, we used to go into the field and look to the beauty of growing their vegetables. My grandparents used to, especially my granny, she used to grow tamri bhaji, then tuber crops like kate kanga, then dioscorias. And she used to give it to us when we were going back to our house. But that vegetable, when we used to cook with, because she used to only put cow dung and her farmyard manure. And that vegetable was way better to taste than the normal which we used to buy from the market. And that greenery always fascinated me. Even my mother is very enthusiastic into her vegetables. So we do not have a big plot, but whenever it's rainy season, she used to take a plot on lease, and she used to grow all the cucumbers, and everything, and we used to just go to play over there. So over the time, I started liking the process, like how she used to put the seed, and the seed used to germinate and give us fruits, and go and harvest and eat the fresh one. So I always got fascinated by agriculture techniques, and then all of a sudden, when I finished my 12th science, then I started thinking of doing my gardening. When we have seen an advertisement on the newspaper which mentioned there are 10 seats for Goan students who can go to the Dapoli, which is agriculture college over there, and pursue your BSc agriculture degree. So we went to the office, but my parents were not agreeing to that because we need to go to Maharashtra and stay over there for 4 years. When we went for the admission process at Karansali, agriculture department of Karansali, there we met Sir Miguel, and Sir Miguel told us there is a college coming in Goa, and we are going to be the first batch. If you are interested, you can take that. So when I informed my parents about the same that there is a college which is coming here in Goa of agriculture itself, so they were like, let it be the first batch. You'll just go and join there. It will be good for you all being in college, and you'll learn something being in your hometown. We went there and we took admission. There was a drastic change in my life because I was a girl who was much shy for all the cultural activities. And being the first batch, our cultural secretary was not good. But for the first year itself, I was renowned as a cultural secretary, and I was working as a cultural secretary in the college. And then I started writing for Chimera, which I did continue for 4 years. And I even got the opportunity by my performance. I got opportunity by Sir Miguel to visit the Bangalore exhibition, agriculture exhibition. Then I played higher secondary, and there also I went. And then again when I joined college, there was no one who was playing TTP. So we formed a table tennis team, and we played for the college. Then I got chance when I was in third year to demonstrate for the various festivals in Goa, like Goja Pesaka, Mr. Marius. We used to conduct the festivals like instead of Sanja, we used to conduct festivals wherein people can come together and celebrate the culture. So they used to invite me as a guest lecturer. Of course, so Miguel has given me the chance there, and I demonstrate over there how to do grafting, how to pot the plant correctly, how to take care of your plants if there is pest and attack on it.
Yes, Priyanka, that's very. We need more and more people like you and some of the people that we've had on this show on this agriculture with the theme of agriculture. We need a lot of people. You guys are the future of the state. I can't keep I cannot repeat this enough times that you are the future, and you give people like me. May not be Miguel. Miguel is an eternal optimist, but people like me who are pretty cynical because of what we see, some ray of hope that at least Goa has something for us to look forward to. I'm not looking about anything. For us, at least, I look forward to that there is going to be something positive, something good, something better. Priyanka, we wish you the best of luck in your future. Miguel, Priyanka, thank you very much for being part of this show and for coming on Goa 365. Thank you very much, Priyanka. Thank you, Miguel. Thank you. And keep watching Goa 365.